Hello everyone, this is Ken Quigley from Keystroke. Thank you for joining us today as we demo the new Dash V11. This is really quite a significant rewrite and was a fairly major investment for us. But as you'll discover with a lot of our products, we eat our own dog food. So, when we want the program to work for us internally, then we invest in it and hopefully everyone benefits from that. And this was clearly the case in this. I'm currently demonstrating my dash that I have out, and Michael is going to do, our support manager, Michael Kadlub, will do most of the presentation. I'm just kicking it off. I've left this last little widget here available because I'll actually be creating an opportunity graph, but Lubs is going to be going through most of the other new features. What you're seeing right there, actually live in action, is it actually auto refreshing. Okay, this dashboard is being popped out, so it is separate from Act, allowing you to actually use Dash and Act at the same time. Previously, it was an either or, but we knew that if you want to look at reporting data, it shouldn't come at the expense of being able to look up a contact in Act or check your calendar or anything else like that. So we've made this undockable so that you can just simply put it on another screen and use Act on a separate screen altogether. As I said, we're going to cover not just the new features, but we're going to cover Dash. The deeper dive is going to be done by Michael. He's just going to dial back in. But let me just kind of quickly go through the features. Now, as you can see, physically, it now is separate from Act. You can set the preferences to, and let me just kind of go through here, go into the settings. Okay, so you can go through the settings. Same as before, you can, got the getting started wizard. You can set where all yours are saved. You can set a default dash. All of this is the same as before. What is different is that you've got the option to, how to display dash embedded inside of Act, which is the way it's been historically. But as I said, it's always been an either or. You had access to your dash information or you had access to Act. Now you can set this external pop out, and when you launch Act and you click on Dash, it will pop out, so you can put it on another screen, another window, whatever suits you, and you'll be able to access both pieces of information at the same time. Obviously, with that, it being a dash, we wanted to set automatic refresh. So in this case, I've set mine to be every 15 minutes. Okay, and every 15 minutes, this screen will refresh all of the information. Okay, so if I'm syncing or if there's been new information added to the database, it will display all the new information to present. Now, you'll see here, as I'm closing this, it's going through all of this, just refreshed every single chart. I've got a lot of charts. So I've got a history chart here. I've got a custom table here, custom table here, custom table, custom table, custom table, custom table, custom table. And then the whole bottom row is opportunities. Previously, this history chart, and this is a very, very basic crosstab history chart, or it's called a complex KPI. It's basically here's all the record managers that I'm going to be tracking their histories on, and here's the histories across the top. Now, you can see call attempted, call completed, call left message, call received, total. Anyone that's ever done a report like this, know that refreshing this can take anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. This now takes about 1 to 2 seconds. Okay, and that's because previously it was written to display and access the data through OLEDB. Now it's written directly to SQL. So the information, it did take it's a significant rewrite, okay, but it did take a lot of time to be able to gain that performance. So a couple of things just to control expectations. If you've got some old dashes, please note that those dashes will likely, in most cases, depending on what kind they are, especially the history types, will have to be redone, okay? But what we've done is we have made it easier to rebuild your quotes, and let me show you how. So I'm gonna click on here to bring up the the builder. Okay, so obviously you're seeing a new interface here, different iconography, but more importantly, you're seeing simpler setup here. What we found is, and Michael had a slightly different perspective because he'd been using Dash for 10, 15 years. What I found was that if you're new to Dash and you just said history and you selected field and let me just say, record manager, and I put in, let's say, equals, now you're going to get all the record managers here, okay, which is great. And I'm just going to put here, but at this point, you would have to know that you have to hit enter, okay? And I always found that somewhat awkward when you're initially learning the program that you would have to hit enter. So we added in the plus. The second thing is on this very example, okay, where you're seeing all of these different record managers. Let's take a look at how, and we've added this here as well, okay? Let's actually rebuild this. So I've got Shannon, Jason, Sylvia, Victor, Joseph, myself, and then we've got this month. So I'm just gonna click here, delete this. Okay, so now I've only got one record manager. So now imagine that I want to add all those other people because I don't want it pulling my entire our entire user list. Previously, you would have to enter in here all the field parameters, history, record manager equals Shannon, and then put in or as well. Now what you do is you select this and you just click on, let's say Vic, let's say Sylvia, let's put in Michael, just for giggles, put in myself, and put in Jason Murphy, okay? Now, I also have the ability to select from a bracket. This is something that was available in the ACT query. I see that I should have removed this. Okay, yes, I'm aware. Okay, so and okay, and then the only other thing that I've got to add is the date parameter. So I'm going to put in history, and I'm going to put in start date, and I'm going to put in equals. And I wish that the ACT query editor had this. This makes it so simple. This month, and I'm going to click on add. I'll change or to and. Okay. Preview, and now it's working again. Okay. That would have taken 2 to 3 times as long without this little copy function, but this is why I say if you do have to rebuild your queries, a lot of the time, especially if you've got to cherry pick record managers and things like this, it's made a lot faster with this process. You see here how quickly this refreshed. This was previously a process that that took about 30 seconds. Okay, now it's instant. Okay, see that call. Michael has a lot of calls to catch up on. Michael, are you ready? You back?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. So
great.
Let me make you, where are you? There you are. I'm going to make you the presenter now.
Okay.
Okay, so now the real expert at this. Take it away.
All right. Can everybody see my screen? Or can you see my screen, Ken?
I can, and we can hear you too.
Excellent. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So I saw that Ken went over the settings already, so I'm not going to go over that. But we'll go over how to create a dashboard here, okay? And then I'll show you some of the examples that I use quite frequently as well. So first thing we do when we create a new one, very simple, up here top left, click the new button, and it brings us to this page where there's one choice there, the wizard, okay? For any of the people who used to use it, you should have a couple different options there. We made it, you just wanted to streamline it and make it as easy and efficient as possible. So we just go through the wizard here to start everything. All right. Now, as you create these, you'll notice, and I'll show you too once I go into the ones I've already created, you can also just go into previous or current dashes that you have, and then either do a save as and change it up a little bit if it's going to be similar to an existing one. But if it's going to be totally different, you'll want to obviously go to the new button to create a new one. Okay. So let's just do a simple contact report here. We want to do a list of our contacts. So basically over here on the left, we choose whatever entity we want to report on. So we have all the different entities within the ACT database there. Okay. So I'm going to choose contact query. And then you have a couple different options here as far as in the query, contacts with and or without all these different sub-entities. Some of these are custom tables, some are notes, histories, activities, but you have that option to sort of combine tables here, so to speak, or look for things without those pieces of data as well. All right. In this case, I just want to look for just contacts in general. Okay. And we're just going to say, okay, the contact table. And then we're going to look, we're just going to pull everybody who has something in the province field. Change data, and then hit the plus sign to add it. I have the option down here to preview it. The nice thing we've added here in this new version is the ability to preview just the first 100 records. Okay. Previous versions, it would preview everything. So in this case, if your database had 1 million records, it's gonna wait for 1 million records to return there in your preview. But this one only has the first 100. So if you want to preview something, it's very quick to preview. If you don't, you can just go ahead and click OK, and it takes you right to the next part of the wizard, which is what type of report are you looking for? How do you want the data displayed? There's 3 options. We have a graph, which gives you like either bar or pie graph to graph the data. List view, which you can also then export to Excel because it's very Excel looking. And then finally a KPI, key performance indicator, which is going to give you basically numbers, how many people are in each province, things of that nature. Right here, we'll just do a list. And once you click whichever option, then another screen is going to pop up here in a second, which is going to let you then choose, in this case, which fields you want to see on that list. And it sort of comes with a few already in there for you, as you see over here on the right-hand side. I'm just going to add the province one because we want to see that. You can obviously add as many as you want. And you also have the ability here with the double arrows if you just want to say, okay, I want everything. I want all my contact fields. Double arrow adds them all to the view there. You can show grid lines, which is, when people are using a list, I usually tell people to show the grid lines because it makes things easier to see. Okay. And then you have a max row height of 5. So that's if you have any kind of if you have a memo field, for example, in a contact section, it's only going to show you the first 5 lines of that memo field. That comes more in handy when you're doing like a notes or history report for the detail section where they might be, 100 lines long. You don't want to see 100 lines necessarily. You only want to see the first 5 lines of that in the view, in the display option. And just let you know, congratulations, you've completed it. Click OK to view your results. Click OK here, and it will render my results here in a second. And what you always want to do is you want to make sure you're saving your reports whenever you create these things, okay? Because right now, if I were to just close out of ACT, even though I see this report right now, it does not save it. The next time I come in here, I've lost what I've just done. So you always want to make sure you're saving it anytime you make any changes here. Okay, so you give it a name, and then you're going to see now a button at the bottom. So where the buttons are, at the very bottom, you'll see folders, new, activities, calendar, history, notes, opportunity, V11 service. You're going to see a new one get created here called test contacts once I click save here. There we go. And they just go in alphabetical order as far as how they get ordered down there. If you need to rename anything, you can just right click on it and select rename. You also have the ability to make it read only, in case you don't want anybody to change it, you can make it read only. So here's my list of my contacts with provinces. Okay, and then once I have the list here, I can sort by any column by simply clicking on it. So if I'm going to sort by the province, I'm going to click on the province heading, and it'll then sort by that column. Anytime we're working with large pieces of data, it may take a while. So right now we have, looks like what we have, over 168,000 records.
And I assume you can also filter as well?
Yes. If I should have chosen maybe a smaller subset to work with, but
no,
that's all right.
160,000 is really reasonable. This is why we rehearse.
Yes. Well, yes, you can definitely filter by clicking. There's going to be a filter button at the end of each column there. The other thing you can do is group. So if I want to group it by each particular province, I can do that. So the group button among these icons here is the third one in. And if you mouse over, and I'll tell you what it's going to do. So this is going to say toggle group view. I would drag that option there, and then it's going to group by that particular field. Once that's finished there, I'm actually going to copy this down to the lower part there, and I'm going to change it to a KPI instead of a list view to show you how easy it is to go from sort of one view to another within the same reporting, same reporting of data, so to speak.
Are we still waiting for that, Lubs?
I think so. Let's see here.
Do you want to pivot over to my screen while we're waiting for yours to refresh?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so let me take my screen here. So I'm going to be showing you guys different opportunity reports. It's, Lubs and I decided to kind of divide them up because I'm much more on the sales side. So as you can see, I've got 3 charts, or what will soon be 3 charts. So here is a standard opportunity list. Nothing special about this, but Lubs just mentioned something about grouping. So let's just see how we can take a simple list of all your opportunities and present it into something that's actually meaningful. So I'm going to click on the group, okay? And I'd already had it done by Record Manager, okay? If I hadn't, I would have just simply dragged the Record Manager in, but now I can immediately see how many opportunities each sales rep has. So now, if I wanted to go into this one and I said, okay, let's click on Sum, okay, I can now see each and every single Record Manager. Okay, if I was to close this, I can see the amount of available ops for this month. I can drill in and see the totals for each one. I can expand each one. Okay, it really gives me really nice visibility from what was previously just a list. Okay, here is my pipeline. So here is let me just close all this. So here's my pipeline. It's showing a graphical representation of what's over here, okay? But what I would like to do is actually build a sales report. So I'm gonna go through what Lubs did, but with the opportunity table, and I'm gonna click here, opportunity query, click on next. And so the first start of the stage is harvesting the data, and the next stage is presenting it. So I wanna select what my data is, and my data is going to be actual close date equals this month, okay, plus, and then just for added thing, I'm gonna just say opportunity status, and I'm doing this on purpose because previously status was something that was really buggy and unreliable, okay? Now you can go into it and say equals closed one. So this is pretty clear. It's going to go out, extract all my opportunities that are actual close date this month, status is equal to closed one. Okay, so I can do the preview. Very quick. Lub's already pointed this. If you want to see all the data, you clear that checkbox. You're good. I now click on OK. And I want to present it as a graph. Okay. And I'm looking at here. I like the pie chart. I like having my information at the bottom. Okay, just because it saves space. I don't have to have the legend at there. And let's see, group record manager. I'm going to do sum, and I'm going to do total price. Okay, total, because that's actually going to show me what I want. Because if I'm doing a sales report, I want to actually see what the sales are. Boom, that's it. Okay, you notice how this is a lot bigger and clearer though? Take a look at all the people here versus all the people here. Well, this is a lot of extra information that I don't really want. So now I'm going to go into the query and I'm going to define it a little bit more. I say opportunity, and we're going to do what we did earlier, and we're going to say record manager equals, and I'm going to say Jason Murphy. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an or, select, and I'm going to say copy, 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 maybe one more. Okay, now I'll put the bracket over here. And I'm just going to go through. I'm going to select the people that I actually want to see the data on. Okay, Shannon, Sylvia, Vic, and believe it or not, Michael, because he sells more than he calls. Okay, one more preview. It's good. And now that data is showing only what I want it to. I don't have some of the extra record managers in there that included test data. And now I'm looking at only production data. So when we say that you've got to rebuild some of your charts, we've made it so that that process is really quite easy. How you doing, Lubs?
Good.
Is the information?
Yeah, I narrowed it down.
Okay, so let me give you back the screen. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So as I mentioned before, I grouped these together by province, and now it's giving me a count by each province of how many are in there. Okay. And you could do that with any field. So if you want to count the number of ID statuses, sales reps, whatever, products, you keep track of that stuff. So it gives you an opportunity. Then you could drill down. So if I want to see everybody in Ontario here, I can click there, and it gives me everybody that's listed there. Okay. I'm going to use the same report, and I've actually queried it down to be create date this year just for some quickness on here today. I'm going to copy it to the bottom here, and I'm going to do a KPI instead of a list view. So to copy a report, I hold down the control button on my keyboard as I'm clicking this title section here where it says contact query list. So I hold control, click that, and then drag it to where it says title, release it, and then it copies it as you see it here. And then to change it, to change the way the display is viewed, it's the last icon, which tells you modify the current way that your data is being displayed. So I click that. And now instead of a list, I'm going to change it to KPI. And there's two options, either a simple KPI or complex. First one, I'm just going to do simple. And basically it's going to give me the KPI field.
So while you're working on that, Dolores has asked, will my complex KPIs all need to be rewritten? Some of them, yes, some of them will just have to be tweaked. And that's if you just go into the designer section, you might have to reselect the fields and then it will work. Some of them just won't translate and you'll have to redo them. I can't guarantee which ones will or won't, depending on the data table.
Right. And so what Ken is saying there is there's two places you'll have to sort of go to see. One is your query. Your query may have to just be altered a little bit. You'll see the old query there, so you'll still see that. You may just have to take things away and add them again because of the way the query works now, but you'll actually see what you had before, so you don't have to recreate from scratch. But then also in your display, you may have to, depending on what fields you have shown, you may have to, like, especially in the list views, you may have to take them off and then add them back. Once again, because sort of the way the data is rendered behind the scenes, some of that may just need to sort of be almost like a refresh, so to speak.
Yeah, I found that the list views are pretty reliably required to rewrite, and or not rewrite, but just set the fields back.
Yep. All right.
But the little bit of time that you give up doing that, you will save time and time again with how much faster the data refreshes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, and then in any KPI view, if you want to see the data that's related to that specific KPI item, you just double click on that line item, for example here, AB, and then it's going to open up a little list view below there with that data, with those results. Okay, so you can, it's able to drill down into that specific data for you. All right, so let me just go through some of the other ones that I've created already, just for the sake of time here. Let me go to the activities here. And once again, anytime you move off, it's going to ask you if you want to save your changes. So anything you've changed, if you want to save it, yes. Obviously, if you don't, you can hit no. Some of the changes were just temporary.
And the activity report is really important because we lost that one when ACT removed a stored procedure in ACT several years ago. So this, we were able, because it was rewritten through SQL, to restore that report.
Yeah, this one's been down for a while. I would say, what, 3 years, do you think, Ken?
At least, yeah.
Maybe more? Yeah. So now you have the ability to see what people have scheduled on their calendars, okay? And these are two KPIs. So basically the first one showing what activity, how many activities each person has this week. The bottom one, how many activities each person has this month, okay? This next one is I think really huge, especially now that we have the pop-out, is the ability to show your calendar, okay? So with the ability to have pop-out, if you have multiple monitors, you can have your ACT on one screen, your contact view, or if you're working in companies or opportunities at that time, and then on another monitor, you have this dashboard view with your calendar. So in this case, I have the work week view, but if I just wanted the daily view, I can just have, my daily view up on my other screen just all day looking at that, and then it's interactive. It's not just a view only calendar. So as I complete my activities, I can clear them, I can reschedule them, schedule something new, create a lookup, whatever I need to do, all within this calendar that once again is on a separate monitor with my screen. I don't have to drill into my calendar and then go back to contact and back and forth. I'm able to see both at the same time. So this is something that's really neat, that plays well with that pop out of the dashboard versus seeing the dashboard embedded into ACT. Okay, and to create that, I'll show you how to create that because it's really easy. When you go through the wizard, you choose activity, and instead of activity query, you choose activity calendar, and that's really all you need to do. Hit next, and it creates it for you. There's only one option there. So, and then once you get in there, you can choose all your different options as far as what users you want to see, priorities, and types and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, because ACT is not a multi-screen monitor or program, so this turns it into one.
Yep. All right. Next, I have a history report here that I've history dash. I have 4 grids here, so I have history last week and last month. The ones on the left are KPIs, and then as you'll see pop up here shortly, you'll see a graph, a bar graph pop up for last week and last month. And as Ken mentioned, I didn't pull up every history. I think I just did calls maybe or services. Let's look at the query here. Yeah, so create date, it was last week, and then the type either contains call or service. Okay, so you don't need to see contacts deleted or field changes, things like that. You may not want to see all those different field or history types. You just choose the ones you want to see, and then there's your KPI with just those specific ones. Okay, and the same thing down here. The only difference with this one, it's last month instead of last week. All right. here's something very similar, it's just notes instead of histories. Okay, so we have the notes this year on both top and bottom. The top one is a list view. The bottom one is a graph view. Okay. Same thing with the graph. So when you do a graph and double click on it, actually does a pop out of a list view instead of below like the KPI does. But then you can see everything within that graph that was listed in that particular section there. And you can control what fields you see here as well. So there is a display, that display icon there. You can choose which fields you want to see within that view there as well. Ken already showed you, a lot of opportunity ones, but I'll just show you another one here. This one has, at the top, it has the forecast for this month, next month, this year, and at the bottom, anything that's been closed last month, this month, and this year. Okay, once again, all KPIs, and for a sales manager, this is a great tool. They can have all the different different reports all on one screen basically here. As you see, there's 6 here, and there's plenty of room for double that really if you want to look at some different numbers and things like that. So it's really easy and great for them to just see what numbers are out there, both for forecasting and then also for what they've closed in the past. I'll show you one more here. So this last one here, this service, this is one I use on a daily basis as a support manager here to manage my support team. So we have a custom table in our database called service, and that's where we track all our tickets for anything we do. And then this is how I pull the reports as far as how our people are doing. So tickets and hours for this week, tickets and hours for this month, year to date, last month, 2 months ago, things of that nature.
And these are all simple KPIs. So you're basically getting the record manager down one side and then the sums based on what you're looking for. So very, very easy to build. And Lubs, show us what happens when you drill down into any one of them.
Sure. Here for Albert. Okay, it's going to bring it down here below. And then if I want to add additional information to see, I can pull that information to see additional information as well.
So we had one question, talking about custom tables, and this is where, not only is it presenting the custom tables in a really intuitive way, but it's also presenting it in a drillable way. Okay, Dolores asks, does it support a join or parent and child tables together?
For the most part. So like, for example, here, let's just do a new one. Wizard. So let's, for example, let's say we're going to do a custom table. Let's just choose software. So here's where you would choose the join. So if the parent was linked to companies, you would do that. If it was contacts, you would do contacts. So it just depends on what you want to see. How you have that relationship sort of set up there.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Can you go through, pull up your simple KPIs and show some of the arithmetic options?
Sure.
Because you started to show the sorting, but unfortunately we got choked with the amount of data you were processing.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. I know what you're saying. That's what happens when you click too fast.
It wouldn't be a presentation if we didn't have errors. So let me just pivot over to my screen.
Okay, nope.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here we have, when we click the little icon there, next to the count, we have, we can do sum, which we've done there. You can do a minimum, maximum, count, average, or you can do all 5. And then at the bottom, you'll see all that information. Okay, so you have the ability to do that. So once again, being able to to do a report, and you know, somebody wants to say, okay, what's the maximum number of provinces we have, or ID status, or whatever, you can easily find that information very quickly by doing any of those math calculations right there.
It says when you, someone asked, when you drill down, can you get back to the original table in ACT? I'm not sure I understand that question.
Maybe they're asking, like, in a custom table, will it open up the custom table item maybe?
Yeah, this will continuously, as you drill down, will present the information in dash format. I do know that a lot of the dash options, you can right click, and maybe you want to show some of that, and allow you to go tos.
So right down here,
Okay.
right click, go to contact, or if it's linked to a company or opportunity, it'll give you that option as well.
Okay, but in terms of drilling it down to the point where, you know, you want to see, let's go to the data tables, that's not what Dash does. It's really presenting the information even as it drills down. Okay.
I think, Ken, if you do hit Designer installed, it will open a custom table layout for you.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
Yeah. If you have a list view of a custom table, and then if you have Designer installed as well, and you double click that list view item, it will open it up.
So since you guys are all here, we can share with you that in the coming weeks, I would say in May, pretty reliably, we will be coming out with Designer version 8. Okay, and much like this, it's going to be all about performance. It's going to be running faster. It's, you know, there will be a new coat of paint, of course. There'll be new iconography in the program, but most of it is going to be about performance. And that's always been one of the bigger issues with Designer, was the you know, it was a bit of a memory hog. This is going to be addressing that, and we'll be able to handle hopefully much greater amounts of data. We've already, the first beta, Lubs, what was your, you were using some huge amount of data, and you went from like 40 minutes down to 3 seconds or something like that, sorting?
It's actually like 1 hour to 3 seconds, yeah, between 5 to 10 seconds, yeah, so it's definitely prove it.
So if you're a Designer user and you're looking to have some of the functionality that that Lubs was talking about, where you can actually drill down into the custom table, you'll have that available.
So here, I just created a simple software list here. Software is another custom table we use. And then if you double click on an item, it'll, because I have Designer installed, it'll open up that software layout that we have for Designer. So.
What does the at mean? Very good, thank you. So one of the features that, and actually let me pivot the screen over to mine. Okay. Can you see my screen now, Lubs? Michael? Okay. Okay, so one of the pet peeves that I had is that you only had the ability to email out the entire screen of charts. So what I requested our developer to do is to actually build in an email option with each and every single widget. So when you click on here, this is going to allow you to create a PDF and send out that particular graph as opposed to all of them. Very few occasions will someone within your organization need to see every single chart. Lubs is our support manager, so when he is liaising with me, he's going to be sending over these 2 reports. Okay, that's pretty simple, as opposed to him sending, you know, previously email and I having to sift through, you know, 15 different widgets to get to these 2 widgets that I care about. Okay, so what we built in, I know it seems like a simple thing, but it was actually technically much more involved than we expected, is these little @ signs allows you to email out just that widget. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. Okay, Lubs, you want me to give it back to you?
Yep, sure.
Okay. Nope. I almost made you the organizer. Don't want to give you that kind of power.
Do it.
Nope. Go.
All right. Another thing we've added to this feature, to this version, when you export it, it's going to give you the ability to export to XLSX. Okay. For the export there. And the other option, if you want to go to CSV, you would select print from the menu at the top, choose Excel, and then when you go to print, now there's going to be an option here, either XLSX or CSV. Okay, so it just depends on how you want that data to be exported. A lot of times, people export data to import other places, so it might depend on what you need on the other side to bring that data into something else, possibly, whether it be another ACT database or something else. Okay.
Lubs, do you want to show the double chevrons? This was really one of your pet peeves, so you'll definitely want to show that how that speeds things up.
Yeah. So if, for example, let's say you want to export all your contact data. Let's go back to my test contacts, actually. Toggle that off. And, right here I'm showing about 7 or 8 fields. Maybe I wanted to see all the fields. So I'm going to click my monitor icon. Go to my contact screen here, click any field, and then hit the double arrows. Quickly
Now,
add
for
them all.
those that don't remember, there was never a double chevron, so that you had to double click on each and every single one of them, which if you had a long list like Lubs has here, you can end up with carpal tunnel by the end of the process.
Yes. And there was no highlight shift like you can do in the ACT layout. You had to sit there like Ken said and basically just double click every field there. So and then very easily to do. And now all those fields are on that export there, or on that list view. Okay. And once again, if you did it by mistake, and we have the reversible double one there to take them all away. So very easily done to get things on and off of there. Okay.
And again, like I've said before, driven largely because we use this program ourselves every single day. So we know some of the pain points, we know some of the repetitive annoyances. So with this one, we knew it was going to be a big investment, so we tried to cover as many of them as possible. He just showed you the double chevrons, which seems like a simple thing, saved us tons of time. I showed you the copy rows, okay, and the add and subtract buttons within the query builder. And again, it allows you to really build things very, very fast, certainly comparatively.
Another thing that's been added is the ability to move or to move a grid from one spot to another. So if I want to move this one here to the right side here, I can just click the title and just drag it over. Where in the past you had to hold down your shift button to do it. With shift still does work, but I just want to let people know that you don't even have to hold the shift anymore. You just click it and drag it. Okay. So it just makes it a little bit easier if you need to move things around to change real estate. And once again, the copy, hold down Control, drag it, then that copies the actual thing, and then you can. And that's what I was talking about before, where you've already have something created. You want to report that's somewhat similar, but maybe a different query, different sort, whatever. You copy them to different grids, and then you change the query accordingly. You've created, let's say, 9 reports all within a matter of minutes because you're copying and moving things around and just changing queries a little bit or sort orders or what have you. So it makes it really efficient and quick and easy to create multiple reports in a matter of minutes. Where, if anybody using the ACT report writer trying to do something similar, how painstaking that can be, if it even works at the end with your desired outcome of what you want.
Anything else you wanted to cover, Lebs?
I think from what you and I have covered, I think we've pretty much touched on all the newer features.
So let me just recap for everyone. Some of the stuff obviously is under the hood, isn't going to be terribly sexy. Dwayne would be mad at me if I didn't mention that it's being rewritten. Okay, it's being rewritten from VB to C#. You know, faster and better memory management. The nice thing about C# is it gives us a lot more troubleshooting visibility. The dash data, as we showed you, is now available in a separate undocked window, which really allows you to have multi-monitor support in ACT, which previously didn't exist, but more importantly, allows you to work in both ACT and dash simultaneously, as opposed to previously being in either or. Okay, no longer uses the problematic OLEDB views. Instead, it uses standard SQL tables. Email a single dash, which we showed you, instead of having to email out them all. Reports like the activities contacts that were broken previously now are all working. Query builder, that opportunity status field, because I'm a big opportunity guy, this was a really sensitive point to me. It was constantly disappearing. We had to run batch files for that to be resurfaced. Now it's reliably available every single time without interruption. And you can see the value of that when you're doing either pipeline reports or sales reports. Having access to not just the status field, but also all the drop-down available really speeds up that process. Printing to Excel now supports XLS format rather than just CSV. Okay, the query builder, which we showed you, the add, delete buttons, as well as the copy buttons for easier query building. We know some people are going to have to rebuild some queries, so it's nice that we can provide you guys the tools to do so quickly. And then, you know, pretty much the UI across the board has been modernized. Okay, so all new iconography, much more conservative space being used. We think it's much leaner, and it allows more room for just the data that you're interested in, rather than large icons on each toolbar. Okay, so that pretty much covers what we wanted to go through today. We do have blogs on this. I do want to remind, because we are capitalists, I want to remind anyone, if you are a past Dash user, okay, and you have purchased Dash since we bought it, which has been over 2 years now, then you have until May 12th. Okay, I was going to say that the sale ends tomorrow. You guys are good enough to give of your time, so I'm going to tell you we're extending it to May 12th, and that is a hard cutoff. That's 2 weeks into May. At the end of May, by May 12th, you can save 35%. Okay, you've got to go through sales at kqc.ca, because we don't have a system to verify everyone's eligibility, but you can save 35%. So definitely email sales at kqc.ca, submit your license key and say, I would like a quote to replace this. And if it's a change of quantity, just let us know how much, even though our quoting system allows you to change the quantity. And you're not limited. If you had, let's say, 4 Dash before and you want to buy 6, then that 35% discount will apply across the board. Okay. Anything I'm forgetting, Lubs?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, so let me just share one thing. Anyone comes to us on the morning after the 12th and say, can I have an extension? Whichever. We've run this sale since the 17th going to the 12th, so that's 4 solid weeks. Hopefully that covers most people's vacations. I personally have a policy of not extending sales, so that's going to be a hard sell. So if you're interested in what you've seen today, you want to have this Dash functionality faster, better, more flexible on multiple monitors, please take advantage of this opportunity. We want people to save and step up to this, this newer program. So with that, I will let everyone get back to their day. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care.
Thanks, Ken.
Bye-bye.